What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Pipeline Profits, or welcome for the first time if this is the first time that you are checking us out. In this podcast, we discuss all things marketing, all things sales. I would say myself, I'm Emma Pace, and my co-host, Ryan Wykes, here with me, are borderline obsessed with sales and marketing. And our goal within this podcast is to deliver as much value so that you guys can have authentic conversations and close more deals. And today we have a pretty kick-ass guest to be able to help us accomplish that mission or help us on that mission.
Yeah, today we have such a fire guest. He is the founder and CEO of the Fine Estates team, with offices servicing both Niagara and Muskoka. They are the top 0.01% in the Niagara region. He's built such a powerhouse team, selling amazing properties throughout Ontario. He's not only an amazing team leader, but he's also a sports enthusiast, a podcaster himself, a social media titan, and we're super pumped to have him here today. He speaks on stages. You probably heard this guy before if you know anything about real estate. We're super pumped to welcome Andrew Perrie.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, Andrew?
On?
Holy smokes. I really appreciated that intro, guys. That was really nice. I loved it.
You know, the one thing that we forgot to mention is he's also a professional wine drinker. I forget. I think that we should have probably mentioned that.
I literally wrote the book on it. Yeah. Which is number 1, by the way. But oddly enough, I'm 30 days sober. So
congratulations.
Yeah, it was a tough summer, man. It was a tough summer. Coming back into fall, and I'm like, I should feel refreshed. Like September is like Monday, right? That's how I look at it. And you know what? It was not a money making Monday. I mean, we were doing deals for sure, but I didn't feel like it was a money making Monday. I felt like it was a groggy, holy crap, did I just come from Vegas or something? Why am I so sleepy for the first week?
Super dehydrated, super sleep deprived. A summer spent on the lake and at the vineyards, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the summer is, I got 3 kids under 7, man. So it's like getting them anywhere is a full workout. So by the time you get to your destination, you're like, okay, drinks now.
I get it. I've got 2 kids, 6 and 3, and going anywhere, the amount of stuff my wife packs, like I always look at the bags and I'm like, babe, we're going to the cottage for like 3 days. She's like, yeah, but if we don't have the sound machine and we don't have this and we don't have this and we don't have this, it's every trip is, I shake my head, but you know what? Everything she brings usually does come in handy, and I'm proven wrong. And then if I'm packing and I forget something, it's like you need the world, and it's the one thing that I'm like, oh my God, how did I forget that?
I know. Trust me, we share the same feelings.
I want to know what was the little spark to go for 30 days sober? Do you do it regularly? Is it a little stint that you do? Like, tell me about that.
Yeah. So I've never been the guy to drink every day. Like I don't come home from work and crack a beer, even if it's just one, which I've learned that that's probably the better thing to do versus on what I was doing before. It's like when I drink one, it's like, okay, let's have 3, let's have 10, and then let's be hungover for 2 days, right? So last year I did Christmas Day to almost basically March. I think I went to Austin, Texas to speak out there. It was March, and then I broke that streak having a glass of wine with the real estate rock stars owner Aaron. So didn't want to turn it down a glass from him.
How do you find doing those little stints? Because I do them regularly too. I'm on a 60-day. I'm coming up.
Oh, you froze.
And so I'm coming up to rounding out 60 days. How does doing those little stints impact your business?
Oh man, it's huge, because I remember talking about that on stage around that time and just saying, how energized I was and how clear-headed I was. These last 3 weeks, it's even better. It's like each time I decide to do it, God's like, just stop drinking, because this is you're firing on all cylinders. I was at the Buzz conference. I made, like 10 new connections. I got, some amazing Instagram handles from people that I've never met before or talked to. And, the next team meeting, everybody at work was like, what amount of crack are you on right now? Like, just tell me. Sorry, you're not drinking, but the crack, what are you on? And it's just like, it's like fucking Einstein. It's like with the formulas going all around.
Oh yeah.
This is it. This is great. So I mean, honestly, it just seems to be getting better and better each time I do it. But the point is, because I've done this 2 ways, right? So I've done it where you stop drinking and you really just rely on food to curb it. Or you do nothing, like, hey, look, I stopped drinking. Okay, fantastic. That does nothing. What you need to do is stop drinking, but accompany it with healthy eating, a healthy lifestyle. I've been doing 2 days from, 4 to 5 times a week lately, and I just feel great.
I love it. I did in 2020, start of 2020, I did like a 60-day challenge, but it's exactly as you said. I had went dry before, but never gotten like the full effects.
Yeah.
At the start of 2020, I did 60 days. Looking back on it, I'm like, how did I even do it? But talking about how good you felt, I was like a machine. But I went 60 days, no alcohol, no sugar, no caffeine.
Yeah. No.
And I was on it. But listen, once you get over the caffeine,
that's right.
You are actually, because you don't have a crash, you don't need it. I try to quit caffeine at least twice a year as well. When I start overdoing it, when I get to that 3rd or 4th cup a day, I know, okay, it's time to take 30 days off. But yeah, I agree. I think, the getting off alcohol makes us so much more focused. You get so much more stuff done. It's something I recommend. I usually try to do 30 days every quarter, like start off every quarter.
You know what, though? It brought out something really interesting, which is going to be really cool to speak about on the podcast. I think I've touched on it on a couple of interviews, but I've never really explained how or why and what the effect was. So since January, I don't think it was like a new year, new me thing. I think it was just because I hadn't been drinking and it just felt right. So I'd be waking up early, like 4:30, 5 a.m. And as soon as I wake up, instead of just consuming Instagram or Facebook, I start creating. So what I was doing was I was waking up, I was searching YouTube for motivational videos. I used to do that with my sales team, back at LA Fitness, and we loved it. And so what I did was I was picking something that was going on at the time in our team's lives, in our business lives, and our personal lives, and what overcome, objections or market trends, how to overcome them. And that's how I would base it. Would it be mindset, or would it be, a training specific scripts, maybe advice? And what I was doing is I was writing in a motivational email to my team with video, sometimes diagrams, every day since January. I've been doing it. Now, it has been since my latest stint. So from August to now, I've been doing it 7 days a week. But from January to now, basically on average was 5 days a week, every day. And, the team has been, I don't know, ever since we've done that, we've gotten closer. I've done some vulnerable stories, and, I get replies from them almost every time I send out an email. And it's really inspiring to see that our team is taking the initiative, reading those emails. They can be long, and starting to implement those things in their business. And like I said, it's humbling to feel like once you started to create that community and you're investing into the growth of other people, your team sees that and they kind of want to, they want to jump in. And that's led to multiple new things that we've implemented this year. I think, every 3, 6, 12 months, you should be implementing new things, changing new things. We started a book club. So we read The Alter Ego, and now we're on to ninja selling, and we're almost done.
Nice.
What does it take to have that consistency though? Like that's some serious consistency to do at least 5 days a week from January to now. I think most people probably listen to that and they go, this guy's a superhero. But like if I'm someone new or I want to develop that consistency, like what do I do?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I've done 34. Like I wish you could, people say, hey, 27 days or whatever. I've done it for a couple months there. And one thing changes in your morning routine. It's like everything changes. So I have to wake up and go downstairs. Sometimes I'm like literally walking into walls. I got my eyes closed. And it's like, what the fuck? I can't see anything. Sometimes you're just so tired, right? But you do it, you push yourself. So what I do is I go downstairs, I walk directly over to the kettle, I go to the fridge, I fill it up, I put it back on the thing, I press the button, then I go open up the computer. Because we talked about this off air, my computer's so old, I just let it open and, just let it ease into the day. And then I go back to my shaker and I have vitamins that I mix in, AG1. I shake it, I drink it. Coffee's probably done by then. And then I bring the coffee to the computer and then I start typing. What I found was if any of those steps were missed, the effectiveness of what I was writing would be gone. And if I did it at all, sometimes I'd like get to work. I'm like, how the hell did I get to work? I didn't get because I have another coffee on my way to work. I know we talked about caffeine. So I get my coffee at McDonald's on my way to work too, after I've had one at home. And sometimes I'll miss that. I'll be like, how the hell did I get here? Where's my coffee? And why didn't I take my shakes this morning? So I feel if you have to be consistent in the way that routine is set out, because if that process is broken, for me personally, I feel like the entire day is kind of thrown off.
Makes sense. I'm the same way. Like my morning routine is everything. If I'm not getting my morning routine in, I feel off the whole day. It's like I'm a car that didn't fuel up at the start of the day before getting on the road, right? Like I'm running on empty. If I miss the first thing, it all goes out the window. My kids are a big detriment to my morning routine though. What time do your kids get up at?
Okay. So lately, I don't know if my kids are 7, 3, and 2. And the 2-year-old wakes up constantly throughout the night. It's just his thing. He's the youngest, right? So he wants the most attention. My car got stolen. So I haven't talked about this. My car got stolen 3 Saturdays ago now, 3 Saturdays. Right from our driveway, 2 a.m. And I wake up at like 4, right? And I went out and Spark Financial had given me a hoodie. I didn't want to wake up the kids by getting one and I was a little cold. So I go out. I'm like, where the hell's my car? So my car got stolen. This is a GLE 2022 Mercedes, custom paint job, custom interior. It was my baby. So naturally, I tried to hide it from the kids, but it was impossible because the police came, all of that, right? We had to go find it, go to the dealership. Ever since then, my 7-year-old's been waking up between 1:30 and 4 a.m. and just walking down, turning on all the lights and sitting on the couch and watching a movie. And the other 2 have been up. So last night, child number 3 was up at 1:30. Child number 1 was up at 2. And then Cade, my middle child, was up randomly throughout. So I've not been getting the best sleep over the last few weeks. And I think they're just all kind of, I don't know, maybe scared. Maybe they're hearing things. Maybe they're getting to the age where they have nightmares. But you're right. And if that was the old me, I would have complained. I would have said, look, I can't work out today. I can't eat today. I didn't get any sleep. But no, the journey that I'm on, you'll start to go through, think of yourself as a butterfly in a cocoon. Okay. You're just ready to break through to the next level, and these changes that you're feeling and in these objectives that you have to complete, no roadblocks are going to get in your way. But I'd feel you, man. Trust me, when my kids would wake up, I would allow it to fuck up my entire routine. But now it's like, you just have to prove to them every time they wake up now, they see their dad at 4 a.m. at the table doing his thing, or in the gym in our garage at 5 a.m. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen some of my kids. Did you see the one? So last week, they woke up at 3:30 a.m. We went and sat down and watched Super Mario, and Luigi is spinning fettuccine on his fork. And my son's like, can I have pasta? I'm like, it's 4 a.m., dude. So I had to wake up and make them pasta.
Nice. So with the morning routine and, the motivational and educational emails you've been sending your team, you mentioned it's been a real good culture builder. Have you yet seen an increase in the team's performance or production?
Oh, yeah.
Or are you seeing way more output? What are some of the tangible results you're seeing with this?
Yeah, a lot. It's ton. I mean, we do multiple forms of accountability. So we do the email is to kind of kick things off. I will hide. My team loves this. Maybe, I don't know. I will hide call to actions in the email to see if people are reading. And sometimes it's a reply. So it forces them to reply. Say reply with I'm committed, complete, I'm worth it, complete it, I deserve it, right? And maybe I'll say something where, it's I'll say, what's your favorite animal? And then in our group chat, I'll put my animal and nobody will respond to it and they'll not know what I'm talking about. And that's how I know they didn't read the fucking email. So first line of defense is our email. Then we have an accountability chat. So every day, 8 a.m., you submit your appointments. And every day at 4 p.m., you submit your appointments and what happened, did they work out, etc. Then we have a group chat, and then we have our Monday meetings, and then we have our one-on-ones after the Monday meetings. So what the emails have done is given more topics for us to discuss at these meetings, discuss on the one-on-ones, and really help get people into the right mindset, because we have such a diverse and amazing team. We've got mothers, we've got fathers, we've got a husband and wife team, we've got a brand new mom, we've got people with no kids, we've got single people, we've got short people, we've got older people, younger people, Asian people, Italians. We've got everybody from all walks of life. And how we can all relate to each other is maybe not every single day we're talking about something that they can relate to, but once they read these stories and motivational emails, there's always one at least a week that hits somebody right here and says, okay, that's why. That's my why. This is why I need to change. This is what I need to do to implement in my business. And this is the mind switch that I've been looking for. It's like when you go to a conference, I have to tell my realtors this too sometimes. They're like, $250? What value am I going to get for that? I said, look, if you're looking at it as you're spending $250 to go to a seminar and you're going to leave with a complete business structure or process or a complete outline of how to change your life, you're dreaming. You know what? The last Buzz conference I walked away with, which was obvious, but I'm like, shit, I haven't done that. Event post follow-ups. Okay, we send an email. Thank you very much. It's been so long since after the event, I called and said, hey, Tracy, thank you very much for coming to our client party. I really appreciated seeing you there. Your kids are beautiful. Can't wait to see you at the next one. I haven't done that in a long, long, long time. And somebody from Royal LePage had posted that right on the screen. Event post follow-ups. There's my $250 worth right there.
Yeah.
I think it's such a big takeaway because we always want to get the biggest bang for a buck. And oftentimes it's I went down to an AI conference 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was wasn't even the thing at the conference that paid it, but it was like some conversation that I had with the dude in the hallway, and I was like, this was worth it. This was the reason why I came here. And I think people are always they're setting their expectations so high about this thing, and then all of a sudden they're like, actually, that one stupid little hack that I got paid for this 10 times over. That's right,
and that's what the morning emails do. Yesterday I spoke about my mother. I spoke about she was a single mom, and she worked 3 jobs just to help me do. And I said in the email, if you know me, I'm a handful. So my mom's got to do everything she can. She did everything I can to have the Nike shoes, the DC shoes. And when my stepdad came into the picture, he had a very good job at Magna, making $90K, $100K in the 90s was a lot of money. And my mom never had to work a day in her life ever again. And what that did to my mom was it put her in a place, comfort, to some degree, darkness. And then when I left the house, no one to talk to. Right. And I talked about that. And it wasn't until, I had a conversation with her And, basically what happened was my stepdad quit smoking. My mom's waking up earlier. They have positive things to talk about. But what happens when you're sitting at home all day with really no intention or purpose of where you want to be, or your dreams, or your goals? It really is a, spiritual suicide. And when I sent out that email, I had the mothers from my team immediately reach out to me and said, Andrew, that hit right here today, because that's how I felt, and that's why I want to grow my business.
It's beautiful.
I think it's so valuable because everybody thinks that the tactics, right? It's like, he holds me accountable at 8 o'clock in the morning, and that's the thing that gets me the results. But it's like, let me open up your mind first before you get to that meeting. And I think it's like, I can see how that is so powerful. And then the challenge is just getting them to read it, because it's like, if I can just get you to open the email and I can get you to consume the email, the rest of our day is easy.
That's right. I agree.
And it's interesting. I always talk about like pushing the first domino. And I feel like even after having this conversation, maybe what I thought was the first domino wasn't the first domino. And maybe the first domino is the thing before where we're starting right now, to open people's mind, to be open to the idea of the accountability, instead of like, oh, I'm hearing from mom and dad again. It's like, I want to be open to hearing from the there you go.
But you said something interesting. You said that their expectations are so high. Everybody thinks that there's this magic program, something in terms of technology, something that you can pay for, you can buy leads, you can do this, that's going to drastically change their business. And it's just simply not true. I'll tell you this. I had a conversation with one of the GTA's #1 real estate team, selling between 500 and 1,000 homes. And I was chatting with him after an event. He said, Andrew, we had 2022, we had our worst year ever. And then I said, okay, why? You're the #1 team. How's that even fucking possible? What he said to me was like, we're not getting any new business. I'm like, here we go. Things are opening up. What do you mean new business? Yeah, we're not getting, we're not meeting new people. I'm like, okay, where do you meet these new people? Like online leads. Like, what do you mean? Your entire business is based on online leads? He's like, yeah, what? Last year, we had our best year ever because we canceled our online leads. People forget we are salespeople. My God, if I had online leads when my old sales position at LA Fitness, my God, I wouldn't leave the desk. I wouldn't know what to even do with myself if a walk-in came in. You know what I'm saying? You need to fight as if your life depends on it every day. Every day is an interview to not only your clients and your boss or your team leader, but also to yourself. And if you're not fulfilling that, your subconscious is going to eat you apart. So people complicate things too much. What they need to they need something to come to them. In sales, you have to go get it. So we canceled all of our online leads. We threw events. We door knocked. We taught our team how to just simply care about one another and learn to build true and genuine relationships. And for those people who are saying, hey, well, let's throw money back into our CRM. Let's not. Why don't we take that investment and just throw a kick-ass party that goes to charity, that supports children? And we've literally supported every single holiday in Niagara-on-the-Lake. We sponsored a fall fun fest. It was so big we had to open up the other rink. We did the Easter egg hunt. We did Christmas photos, Christmas toy drive. We did it all. And that is how we won our business. And that's how we had that was our second best year, because 2023 was our best year. And most people are having their worst years ever.
What did the first event look like? How did you get people to the first event?
Oh, shit. Okay. So we've always done very well at like client appreciation events, like massive, like food trucks, everything. We've always done that very, very well. We've never had a bad one. I was crossing my fingers so that doesn't happen. However, our first like ongoing event that we truly tried to like bring in more of okay, once you leave here, you're going to go invest and use us as your realtor. So we did an investment seminar called One Property Away. We had like 40 people sign up and like 8 showed up, and the hall was pretty empty. Nobody ate the cookies, nobody drank the coffee. And what happened was we actually did working with one investor. So it was a success. But my God, if we had to do that now, every friggin' seat would be booked. And now people are looking forward to our events as well. We actually rented an ice cream truck and walked it around a subdivision, knocking on doors, playing the sound. We had one guy, I'm like, does your ice cream truck play music? He's like, no. I'm like, I'm sorry, we don't want you. It's all about, it's open houses. If you have helium balloons on your open house, it's not a fucking open house. In my opinion, right? So it's all about building an experience for people. And you know what? That first event was a little embarrassing, but we've gotten better ever since.
So you now pride yourself in being able to build these great experiences. You've built one of the top real estate teams in Canada. Take us back and tell us a little bit about your journey to get where you are today, like where you started, how you ended up transitioning into real estate, and what along the way made you come to the realization to build, your business in the way that you have to be so successful.
So I think growing up, I always knew that I was going to be somebody someday. I never really knew where that came from, what the desire was, what even the outcome would look like. I thought it would have been through music. I was signed to Universal, an offshoot called Class 21 Records in Toronto.
What?
I was in a band. I left university to go on tour with the band. We opened up for Gob, Grade, Cancer Bats, Not by Choice, a whole Lex on Fire one time. We did all of these bands and all of these shows, and I didn't appreciate it. I drank on stage. I totally took it for advantage of it. And, the band broke up. And then I went solo, signed a couple of contracts, did a couple of Much Music videos, and then I thought this was it. Eventually, I didn't take that serious either. And then I got into sales with LA Fitness. And I mean, at the time, I was in my mid-20s, and I should be buying real estate and, learning. But really, I was just drinking, sleeping on people's couches, and just really enjoying the 20s. If I have to be honest, I did enjoy it. But at the very end of it, it was very empty, and I was left with virtually nothing. So when I got into sales, I took it super serious. I shaved. I, would wear tucked in polos. I would listen to Grant Cardone every friggin' morning. I would write, I would journal, I would wake up and start those emails when I became a sales manager. Like I was with LA Fitness for 3 months. Then I got promoted to GM. I got my own club in Niagara Falls. So I moved from Innisfil in Barrie, from where I'm from, down to Niagara. I killed it. We were breaking records. Then the club was in not the best location. So, I started getting discouraged, and we actually had an opportunity to run a few clubs out in Edmonton. And then I just felt like, look, I'm working 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. I'm making like 120, maybe 150 with bonuses. I'm like, there's got to be something else. For one, I feel like I can run my own sales team because I was. Two, I feel like for all this work I was doing, I should be getting paid more per unit. So then I went into real estate, and my first year, I had no doubt I was going to be successful, but I had what's the word I'm looking for? I knew that it wasn't going to be easy. I didn't have any false views of what my first year was going to look like. But I think I did like $110,000 in my first year in a town where nobody knew. So to me, that was a win. From there, I knew that, okay, I love real estate. I love working with clients, but there's no way that I'm going to be an actual realtor for the rest of my career. So then I started laying out the framework to start building out my team. The first team I started was a disaster. It blew up in 3 months. Then the thing, that, you guys mentioned it, at the beginning, social media titan or whatever. I was the same then. I was telling everybody everything. I told everybody exactly what I was going to do, how great I was. And so when the team blew up, it was embarrassing to say the least. However, the true value that I walked away from it was what exactly not to do the next time. And the second time around, which was, what was that? That was like 2018 to 2019. So just before COVID, we started the Fine Estates team again, but this time with the structure in place. And the rest is kind of history. We've been growing exponentially. We started with one licensed assistant, 2 realtors, buyer agents. Now we've gone up and down, of course, but now we have a total of 15 people at the Fine Estates team across all of our markets, and we're going to be releasing our third expansion office soon. With any luck, we haven't signed the paperwork or anything like that, but with any luck, that would be released before the end of the year. And if it doesn't, I guess that's one of those embarrassing things that I'm going to have to deal with when it happens.
Nah, you're just speaking it into reality. Let's be honest. You're just speaking it into reality right now.
That's right. And we got aggressive goals, man. So in the next 2 years, we're going to have 100 agents. In the next 5 years, we're going to have 1,000.
I love it.
How'd you, after the first blow up of the team, how did you decide, like, hey, I need to give this a second. I'm going to give this a second go. Like, I understand, like, I've learned a lot of lessons. How do I give this a second go? How do I get it out of my own way? And just be able to say, I'm going to persevere through this. It doesn't matter what happened to me last time.
Well, because my boy, Eminem, success is the only option and failure is not. And what I mean by that is by the total outcome. I embrace failure, but by the end of my life, success would have been the outcome. And I know that no matter what that looks like, how long it takes me to get there, I'm going to get there. And I knew that I just had to work through it. I knew that, okay, what happened was I hired 3 guys, young, maybe hungry, maybe not. They're all great realtors. I love them. But at the same time, they didn't have the right structure or support in place. So what I did was I hired a licensed assistant, and I knew that if I was banging off appointments and I needed somebody to write the offers while I was on to the next appointment. So that's what I did. From there, I had too many buyers. So I had to get a buyer agent that wasn't really on the team, but was taking my business at 50%. So what that did for me is that I didn't have any direct responsibility to train or mentor them. However, what naturally progressed was that, hey, this is working. Let's work together as a team. Now, from that point, I would be literally lying to your face if everything that's happened in the last 2.5 years, 3 years was because of my decisions. Ever since I brought Crystal Simons, who is one of the OGs on the team, and then our director of ops, Andrea Lombardo, as soon as I brought them onto the team, their leadership and support, it was bar none. It's a collaborative effort, and that's how we've been able to grow because I don't make any decisions without their input and for the team's input as well. And so, to answer your question directly, I just had to go and push my ass off. And then when I got to a certain level, to get to the next level, I had to rely on the people that I put into the leadership roles to help make the next decisions.
If you had to rewind the clocks in terms of your hiring hierarchy, right? Like your administrative assistant, and now you have a manager of operations, would you go about building the team the same way, or would you go in a different order?
No, I would do it the exact same way this time. With the licensed assistant, then to the buyer's agent, then you get a director of ops once you're doing maybe 100 deals plus. Then because that licensed assistant can either stay the licensed assistant or she can do more transactions, client care, or marketing, and the director of operations can oversee the entire thing.
Yeah.
And then, so Crystal, actually, we moved her up from, the senior salesperson to the VP of sales. And then since then, we've transitioned her into another upper level role where she's in control of all the listings. Every single one, she's in control.
Amazing. I think that's a great point, that a lot of people decide they want to start a team and they think that first hire needs to be like, oh, well, I need an agent under me. So they rush out and they bring on a buyer's agent or a showing agent or whatever they want to call them. But they don't have the systems in place to even support themselves, let alone another agent. So they think like, oh, I've got too much on my plate. This other agent's going to make it easier, but they don't realize by bringing on that other agent, they're bringing on all that other agent's problems and all the things that the other agent doesn't want to do, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like most successful agents, even as a buyer's agent or, a team agent, they don't love doing the paperwork. They don't love doing, chasing deposit receipts and so on and so forth. They love selling real estate, the good ones. Mm-hmm. So you need to have the systems in place. And I think that's what you realized, is to have the systems in place to help when you did go out and get buyer's agents or agents, to allow them to do what they're great at, which is sell real estate.
That's right. And the thing is with that too, though, is that if you're not selling at a high level, you're doing all of it, because that is your reward. Your reward is that, hey, you're getting, so our incentives are not like, hey, here's a PS5. Hey, here's a spa package. No, if you're getting incentivized, it's to help you grow. Here's an hour with our coach. Here is an assistant. Here is admin support, additional over and above. Here is this or that, a book, a membership, something. So that's how we incentivize. And that was the first piece. It was like, okay, you're a busy agent. We're going to take all of this off your plate. Don't worry. And the other reason why the people who aren't selling is because we want them to learn how to do it. Because even me last night, I don't really sell all that much anymore. I go to the listing appointment. I meet the clients. We still have a good relationship, but Crystal takes all over it all. But last night I was representing a client on a $4 million commercial building, and I like to be more involved in that kind of stuff. And it lasted until 10 p.m. And, I'm not going to send a message to my admin team and say, hey, help me write this offer. But if I didn't know how to write the offer or know how to do any of the adjustments in terms of on the paperwork side, I'd be lost. My clients would think I'm an idiot. So, we have recruits all the time saying, oh, well, I was with Remax, not to, throw Remax under the bus. I think it's a great service, but that guy was with Remax and the front desk did everything for me. I'm like, okay, great. That's fantastic. We don't do that here. I'm like, what are you going to do at 10 o'clock? Well, I don't know. I'm like, okay, so you're not even that busy that you've had to ever encounter working at 10 o'clock. So that's the whole thing, is that we want people to know and understand how to do it. And as you become busier, we want to take that off your plate.
And for you guys, for the Fine Estates team, what makes a Fine Estates agent? Like, I come down and I'm like, I want to work for Andrew Perrie. I bring what makes it so that you're like, okay, this person is the right culture fit for us.
So we actually have a mission statement, and we live by the success and failure formula, and I'll get into that. But the best way I could sum it up is reasons or results. And if it's reasons or excuses, you're not on the team. As soon as people start being closed-minded and like, or that's not going to work, or we can't do that, no, you're not working with me. Not at all. I don't care if you sell 10 houses a year, 1,000 houses a year. If you're not bringing positivity into the workplace, then we can't work with you. You have to have an open mind that literally anything is possible. Oh, I can't get this done. I can't do this. Yes, you absolutely can. There's so many options for us to get something done. Now, the success formula is people succeed in direct proportion to their willingness to communicate with as many different types of people as humanly possible in a positive way. Now, what's the failure formula? Is people fail in direct proportion to their willingness to accept socially acceptable excuses for failure. What does that mean? My Wi-Fi went out. I couldn't work. Okay, well then hop your ass into the car and get yourself to Starbucks and get onto the Wi-Fi. Oh, I wasn't feeling well, so I had to give up this major presentation or something. You know what? It's just the basic level of service just doesn't cut it on our team.
I think that's amazing. And I think that those people were harder to come by when it was like just so much harder to come by those people. And I feel like finally some of those people are coming back into the marketplace to be more open-minded to working with others, because deals maybe aren't slapping them in the face nearly as much as what they had before. So I think that model that you have there, living and breathing by the success model and the failure model, is a great model in today's environment, specifically to make sure that all of the humans that want to be a part of that team, especially in your geographical location, have the opportunity for that.
That's right. I agree. And I'm just waiting. I want to read you guys the mission statement. I'm going to have some of my admin email it to me. But the important thing is getting buy-in from the entire team. Right. So the buy-in from the entire team is every Monday we'll actually have our team, a different member, read the mission statement out loud.
Okay.
And I've got it right here. I'm gonna read it out for you. The speed to communicate lies at the core of our approach, reflecting our commitment to staying ahead of the curve. We understand that in today's fast-paced world, timeliness is crucial. By proactively addressing challenges and opportunities, we ensure our clients and partners benefit from our agility and innovative thinking, the ability to anticipate all future moves and opportunities to provide only the most exceptional service to our clients and agents. You can sum that up basically by saying speed to lead. And that's what we live our lives by here at the Fine Estates team.
It's amazing. And I think it's so important, because if you're not the first one there, it's likely they're talking to somebody else. You know, if they're talking to somebody else and that other person's adding value, it could be tough to get those people back. So, I'm always Emma and I both sales obsessed. I started with MrLoft.ca, and, I was always of the mind, I want an appointment with anyone because I want to be that first person they meet, because the stats are 71% of people will work with that first person, whether that person provides a single piece of value or not.
That's right. You know what I've never
And if you
done?
could be that first person and add value.
Well, I agree. In no matter what level or position you are in the company, because here's the thing, even with the amount of friggin' spam calls, I answer every single call, and it's usually within the first ring. I try to, do that as much as I can. Obviously, if I'm with clients, I respect that, and I don't answer, obviously. However, most people see an unknown number and hang up. I answer every single one. And I know if it's UKW people, because you guys all use speed dial. So you know what happens when they use the speed dial and like they're calling like a couple names. And I'm just joking, by the way. It's mostly like telemarketers like Dusk. When they call, they have I don't know what it is, but they call like multiple numbers at once, and whichever one picks up first is they transition to that call. And I know, so if I say hello, okay, I hang up because I know it's a spam. But that took 3 seconds. Right? So I always answer every single call ever, especially if they have no name, no number, and it says 416-647-905. I love it because that's Toronto coming to Niagara, and I'm answering that call.
So when did you said you started the team in 2018, right? 2019 was when you started 2.0.
I would have to say it would be closer to the end of 2019, yeah.
And so now in a short period of time, you've been able to make a really big transition to, picking and choosing the deals that you work on. So if I'm a new team leader that just started a team and my goal is, to become Andrew Perrie, what are some of the steps or recommendations that you would give to someone in terms of delegation of tasks?
Take the ego out, number one. Number two is read a book by Dan Martell called Buy Back Your Time. And then once you finish that book, read another book called Who, Not How. Those two books are going to tell you exactly how to buy back your time using a simple 10-80-10 rule, which is basically, look, here's my 10%. I want you to get this done. The person you're delegating will finish the 80%. You come back and you do the 10%. I learned that from Dan Martell. And the reason why I love that so much is because you don't have to fully step away. Because how many times have I fully stepped away from something that I've assigned and then I get it? I'm like, what the hell is this? So I think people are a little worried about that. So that's why you have to be a little bit more involved, especially in the beginning. But you have to trust people. Look, anybody, I know people talk about this, but this is friggin' true. Anybody who says, my client only wants to work with me, that's bullshit. They might have said that, but you also haven't shown the value of the team that you've basically produced. So we introduce everybody in the listing presentation. I point out each realtor and what they're good at, with what their expertise are. I go with with Crystal, who's the listing senior specialist, and Crystal and I will tee her up and be like, this is who you'll be working with on an ongoing basis. And I think leaders are just a little too scared to do that. But you read those two books, it's going to tell you everything you need to know on how to exit that role so that you can focus on growth. Buying back your time is not buying back time so you can go sit on a damn beach or go snowboarding or go skateboarding or go golfing. I do all those things. It's about buying back your time so you can focus on the growth of the company that you started.
I think the checking your ego at the door thing is that if you can get that in check, that was one of the lessons that I had to learn when I was first building my team was it isn't all about you, because the more you boost yourself, the more people want you. So you need to be comfortable boosting your team and making sure that people feel comfortable working with them. And I think that that's one of the biggest things at the beginning when you're hiring people is you're scared to let go because you feel like I'm losing something or I'm making it seem like I'm not as valuable, where it's like, no. The thing that you've built is the most valuable. It's like, I've trained, this person has been trained under me for 3 years. Like you're good. Absolutely. You are good.
Yeah.
And I think people are scared to let that go.
I agree. But I mean, For me, it was just obvious. Like for me, it almost came from a place of laziness. I'm like, I want to grow the company, but I don't want to be meeting all the buyers and sellers every single day and dealing with the problems and the issues and all of that. I want to just kind of, here's the client, run it, let's firm it up, let's get it closed, let's provide amazing service, and let's move on to the next. And that's how that's what I'm doing. And that's how I always envisioned it. And it's working really well.
I love that you had a vision and you've built it, because I think so many people struggle to actually, they have that vision and they actually struggle to get there. Is there anything in particular that, like, you talked a lot about having routines and habits. Is there anything in particular that you do regularly to like check your business and make sure that like it's on track or it's still on pace to be the business you want it to be and the business that you said you envisioned in 2019?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the main thing is we have our leadership meetings Monday morning every week at 9:30, where we have a snapshot of the previous week in terms of results. What about the goals that we set out to do? How are those actions coming? What do we have coming up for marketing, recruiting, and events? And we review that every single week. And in terms of, what I do personally without them is I go through a lot of our profit and loss and I just kind of see where we can find holes. And, unfortunately in the real estate game, it's really tough to find holes because a lot of those expenses are justified, right?
So you're overseeing and then meeting with your team and going, okay, are we on track for each of these 5 components? And everybody owns their one metric that they're responsible to bring to that meeting once a week.
Correct. Yeah. So one person's responsible for the majority of it as the director of operations. So they know that they need to come. Really, we are in this really massive growth stage. So we're switching roles. We're bringing on new people. So our meetings are now an hour long. But really, once we get it fully set up, those meetings should only be 30 minutes tops. 5 minutes per component, and then a 5-minute, contingency kind of time frame.
So obviously you're super focused on growing your business, and you've grown a super strong business. But outside of work, what can we find you doing? What's your, other than your children, obviously? What do you love to do? You got a sports team that you cheer for. What are we doing?
So yeah, our team actually has a baseball team. So the Fine Estates team baseball team. So we play every Monday from spring to fall. And then in the winter, we are the hockey rink right across the street. I play, I try to play a couple of times a week. Sometimes I'm playing 5 times a week, but usually it's 1 to 2. So I love that. And then obviously hanging out with family, and I love to, escape to my cottage. We go hunting, every fall too now. So we got a lot of stuff to do. Most of my time gets taken up by whatever the kids want to do, but that's life, right?
What position do you play?
I play center because I can't figure where the hell I am on the ice at any given time.
You're a floater. You're everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm a floater, and I'm super good at setting up plays and in passing. That's kind of my thing.
Nice.
What about baseball?
And what do you hunt?
Baseball, I'm the pitcher. So you see, there's a common theme in the band. I was the lead singer, and the team. It's not an ego thing. It's just my mindset and my attitude is I need to somewhat have an input or say or leadership role. It's just what I'm drawn to.
And I know Ryan asked, what do you primarily hunt?
We're going moose hunting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was expecting you to say deals.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I love that play on words, but I'm sitting in our boardroom here, which is obviously wine, and it's called The Cellar.
Nice.
I like it.
So
I like it a lot.
what's one, I know you're sober right now, but if you were to break your sobriety, what is the first bottle of wine that you would drink?
A Cab Merlot, 100%. If we can find a 2012, which is virtually impossible, that would be it. If I had to drink one more glass of wine, as long as it wasn't gone moldy, and it was kept preserved beautifully, that's what
That's amazing.
What's that?
A specific vineyard?
I'd have to say our family's, my father-in-law's vineyard, the Paradiso Estate Winery in Niagara-on-the-Lake.
Amazing.
All right, we're gonna have to plug it. Maybe we'll have to give that away for some client gifts. I imagine at your parties you've got your clients are probably pretty happy with the wine selection at the client events.
Oh, absolutely. Everything's free. We don't charge for anything at our events.
That's fantastic. And do you do any events at the family winery?
Yeah, that's where we do it every year. Every year. It's always the hottest day of the year too, and everybody's dying, but everybody enjoys themselves.
That's amazing. And Buy Your Time Back. So it was Who Not How and Buy Your Time Back by Dan Martell. Those were the two main ones.
Yep.
Are there any other? I mean, you've been a sales guy since even before real estate with LA Fitness. You had mentioned Grant Cardone. So like, I'm catching the vibe that you care a lot about your education and continuous improvement, and feeding your brain with the right things it sounds really important to you. Are there any other courses, books, podcasts, YouTube channels, any other resources that you think are like your little sleeper hit that you would love, to be the guy who gets to share?
Okay. So if there's anybody looking to eventually manage, run, or lead a sales team or company or brokerage, 13 fatal errors that managers make and how to avoid them. Good luck finding a copy on Amazon, because it took me 4 months to get mine. But it's this little book. I think it was made in the 80s. I forget the author, that literally breaks down everything you need to know to become not only a good leader, but instill the values that you want to see in your entire team so that they can become leaders as well. That's the number one book I would say you should pick up. If you're a new realtor, for fuck's sakes, just read Ninja Selling. Just do it. It's this thick, but all the chapters, if you have ADHD, all the chapters are like 2 to 5 pages long. So all you need to do is read a chapter a day. That's it.
Love it.
That's it.
Love it.
Yeah.
And that's the one you're going through with your team right now, you said, right?
Yeah, we've done 3 book sessions and we're already on chapter 25 or 20. So it's super, super easy to read, and it's broken down so simple to understand.
I love it. And any courses that you would recommend or anything that you've taken in the past that have helped you sharpen any of your skills?
No.
You don't have to plug anything. Just
No.
No.
So I mean, our business coach Marianne has been an incredible help from Red Apple Coaching, but I took Ryan Serhan's course, and I'll be so honest, I didn't like it. I love him, and I was just so disappointed. He's got a new one out, and maybe I'll invest in that and just check it out. But I don't know. The problem with courses is that the courses I've found online are. It's just they're so intro that they want you to buy their coaching, right? It's just the way it's set up, which is not a problem at all. I'm just saying, if you're looking for courses, just invest that into an ongoing coach. You will not regret it. You can't look at it as, okay, a 12-month commitment, so it's $12,000, $30,000. You have to look at it. What does it cost monthly? How many deals do you need to do in order to pay for that? And how many deals are you getting because of it? And trust me, you'll get a script, you'll get this one little click, and you'll say it to a client, and it will lock it in, and you're like, shit, I got that because of the coach.
Yeah, or the flip side, how many deals is it costing you to not have this person? How many deals did you lose by not knowing? And it's like that, when you do, someone had switched that up for me one time, and I did the math, and I was like, that's a lot more painful than the other way.
Well, especially when the coach tells you about a situation and you had already gone through it, and you're like, oh, no wonder I lost that deal. I didn't do that. So trust me, if you've lost deals, you'll encounter that many times.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, man. We really, really, really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be here. Yeah, I feel like I learned so much about managing a team. I learned so much about, I really think that tip about the morning email of just getting people to be more open-minded to receive the information and kind of like almost like priming them for the day is such a big hack to productivity that, anyways, I was blown away by that. Thank you. That was my
pleasure.
That was my one little.
There you go.
takeaway for today. Yeah,
See?
massive.
I love it. Thanks, guys.
So if our audience wants to find more of you, whether they've got referrals or they just want to hear your podcast or follow you on social media, where can they find more Andrew Perrie?
Yeah, the simplest is at the Andrew Perrie. I follow back. I read my request folder. So send me a DM or just follow me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, and we hope to see you in person soon.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew.
Actually, I might see you Friday in Vaughan.
Vaughan?
Ryan.
No,
Ryan.
I'm not at ClabCon, but Emma will be. I'm in Mexico
Ryan.
right now.
Are you really? Oh, you
Yeah.
savage. I love it. I love it. Well,
I moved
I'll
the
see you
family
Friday.
here for a year.
Yeah.
Emma
I'll
will
be
be there
there.
though.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Peace out. Thank
Awesome,
you.
man. See you soon.
Cool. See you
Bye.
Friday.